Welcome back to Grow Joyfully. Today we are going to make English butter toffee, one of my favorite candies. What I have here is a heavy frying pan. You can do it in a heavy sauce pot, that works too. We have 2 sticks of butter. I needed to use up some unsalted butter, but I want it to have that salty taste, so I added some salt to the 3 tablespoons of water. So we're going to put that in, and a cup of sugar. So then all you have to do is turn it on to medium or medium high and just stir it and let the butter dissolve, let the sugar dissolve, and then you'll start to see how the water and the milk from the butter fat start to evaporate. You want to stir it until the sugar granules are all gone. And then this is something that you watch and you stir the whole time. You don't want to let it sit by itself or go away or leave it unattended because it can burn very quickly. We'll be right back. While that's cooking, you need to prepare your pan. Like I have here, this is stoneware, and I have covered it with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, just grease your pan really well. So have that all ready before you get anywhere near to the candy mixture being finished. There are a few sugar granules now, but I'm going to just keep stirring and keeping an eye on it. We'll have to see how it comes out. It's a very cloudy, overcast day, and I have heard, I don't know if it's true, I certainly don't know the science behind it, that on cloudy, overcast days, sometimes your bread won't turn out, sometimes your candy will go sugary, or your fudge. So we're going to have to see. I'll bring you back. The first batch I made did go sugary. Now it still really tastes good, but it did go sugary. I think I also should have cooked it till it went darker. You're supposed to cook it until it's the color of a dark old penny. So maybe it's just going to be the day and we're just going to have sugary English butter toffee. That's okay, we'll take our chances, right? You can see it's starting to boil. And you want to stir, stir, stir. That sugary butter toffee did turn out, in my mind. It's sugary, but it's yummy. So you just keep this up and continue to let it boil and stir until we get the color of a dark copper penny. We'll be right back. I have the heat turned to just above medium. You see how it's getting thicker? Last time I made it, I felt very tempted to stop stirring, stop cooking when it was the light penny color. But this time I'm going to go ahead and finish cooking it and stirring it until it's the dark penny color. The sugar and butter mixture are getting even thicker, but we still have to keep stirring and cooking until we get the color we want. It hasn't even started turning brown, really. As you can see over here, I have the walnuts and the chocolate chips ready. You can also use Hershey bars to melt over the top. That will be more like a milk chocolate topping. But I'm going to use the chocolate chips since I don't have Hershey bars right now and my husband likes dark chocolate. It's even thicker. Okay, do you see where it's starting to turn brown? We have to get ready to snatch this off the stove as soon as it turns the color of a copper penny, which should happen pretty quickly. That's why you have your pan ready and your walnuts and chocolate chips or whatever you want to put on the top. You can also chop up almonds or not use any nuts at all if somebody is allergic to nuts or just doesn't like them. Now if we just let it set for a minute, you'll see the color's going to start turning even browner. It's getting darker. And darker. It was about this color when I stopped cooking it last time. I think that was part of my problem. But we are going to wait till it gets even darker. I think it's getting pretty close. Maybe let it get just a tiny bit darker and we will turn it off. Okay, so I've turned it off and I'll stir it just a tiny bit more. We don't want to burn it. Then we'll pour it straight in the pan and try to spread it out. Wow, this is a heavy pan. Take the pan off the heat. Move the camera over more. This is probably thicker than I want it to be. But I tried it with, I'm not sure what the measurements are, but it was a regular cookie sheet. And the cookie sheet was far too big. And I did not like how it turned out. So we thought we'd try this heavy pan here, because the other one I used was a saucepan like this. So now I think we're going to have to wait for it to cool quite a bit, because if we were to put the chocolate chips on top of it, it would just sink inside. So we'll bring you back when it's cooled just a bit. So far, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's getting all shiny and pretty. Right here, it's nice and hard and crispy. It's still, what do you want to call it? I'm trying to think of the word to call it. Anyway, it still gives. It's not completely hard. But I think this would be a good time to put the chocolate chips on. So I am just going to spread them out. Put some more on and let them melt. It's hard enough that it will hold up the chocolate chips, but yet still hot enough to melt them. So you can put as much or as little on as you want. I hope the toffee turns out it's pretty dark. That happens super quick. I'm just going to let them melt for a bit, and then I'm going to spread it. The chocolate chips are starting to melt. And then you just spread it all over the toffee. You don't have to have it exactly smooth. If you wanted it exactly smooth, then you could melt the chocolate chips beforehand or the Hershey bars. I'm just going to keep spreading for a few seconds here. Get some over here. I don't work well left-handed. You can make designs in the chocolate. My mom and my grandma taught me to do this with a chocolate cake. And you save that for your husband or one of your kids or grandkids. And then I'm just going to spread a little bit of chopped walnut on the top. I might leave part of it without the walnuts because I have some grandkids who don't like walnuts. So I guess I better leave a goodly amount for them too. Well, that's all it takes. It's fun, it's worth doing, and I don't know how many cooks have to redo recipes at times, especially when you're dealing with candy, fudge, whatever, that could go sugary. But I think I'm quite impressed so far. I'm going to let it cool completely, and then I'll be able to break it into pieces. So I will bring you back for that. Well, we have the English butter toffee out of the refrigerator. It is set long enough. As you can see, it's nice and crunchy and crispy. Just pull off the parchment paper. Set it aside. And then you're going to get your fingers super ooey and gooey, but that's a price we have to pay. And then just break it up. The chocolate chips still aren't completely set, but hey, I have guests and we want to try this. While we're having dinner, I think I will pop the rest of it back into the refrigerator to let the chocolate chip set up. Oh darn, I will have to just taste it and test it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care of yourself, and we always want to see you come back. Don't forget to grow joyfully. We'll see you next time.